Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynic Alex. And before we start today's video, I just want to let you guys know that Marvel Future Fights Twitter has officially announced the live stream as I predicted on Thursday, March 12th at, I believe it's 8 p.m. Eastern time. So you just have to work your clocks for when that is in your time zone. And also keep in mind that the videos might be an hour earlier for you guys or an hour later. Or it might have changed. Things might have changed slightly because in North America, unfortunately, we have the dreaded daylight savings time. So yes, we lost an hour. Time went forward an hour for me for some reason. Hopefully this is the last year that we'll have to deal with this nonsense, but that is why there may be some changes to the schedule that you are used to. And because the live streams, the MFF Facebook live streams with Cage and Kim, those live streams take place in LA, they will also be affected by the time zone change. So that will affect the time, or that could affect the time of the live stream. So what is today's video about? Well, judging by the thumbnail and the title, this is a fan idea. This was given to me by White Stag, aka YStag on Twitch, and he asked, or pitched this idea to me, top 10 characters that could use a type change. So we have 4 types in the game: Combat, Speed, Blast, Universal, and we have quite a few characters a la Vision who can change their type with a given uniform. Dr. Octopus most recently changes from Combat to Speed when he puts on that Superior Octopus uniform. But if I were the master, if I were the puppeteer, I mean, I am the Netmarble CEO, but if I was in charge, now calling all the shots, and I could choose 10 uniforms to be created for 10 different characters to change their typings, who would they be? Now, I'm going to leave the best for last. This is not really a top 10. We're going to call it a top 10 for whatever reason, but this is not actually a top 10. It's just 10. And I'm going to leave the most spicy ones to the end, so you have to watch the whole thing. Also, I will warn you ahead of time, a lot of them change to Universal. That's just kind of how it is, man. Universal class is so cool, and there are so many cool ideas for Universal characters that just don't fit into any of the other classes. So, without further ado, let's get it started. The first idea that I had, and I think this is a great idea, Arachnite. Arachnite was introduced as the first Heroic Quest character. 750 crystals. You play his stage for a month. You get 440 unit bios, yada yada yada. Unfortunately, unlike White Fox, he is not a support character. Unlike Wave, he is not a support character. He's also not cute like Wave. He just straight up sucks. So what would be very cool to differentiate him from the other sort of spider characters is to make him a combat type character. Now, he is technically half Moon Knight, Arachnite, so that would make sense. It wouldn't be a leap to call him a combat type instead of a speed type, and it would make for an interesting situation where you have a combat type that can counter speed types, but also has the webbing debuff ability. So I think that would be super spicy, and I would really like to see that. Unfortunately, the Infinity Warps were kind of a one-off characters, so there's very little chance that any of them, Ghost Panther, Weaponheads, etc., will ever get a uniform. But if that were the case, I mean, honestly, they could just take the hood off and do one of those off-hood uniforms like they did for Spider-Gwen and Gwenpool. But yeah, that was the first one I thought of. The next one is a bit of the reverse, Bullseye. I honestly think Bullseye should be a speed type character because he just constantly uses projectiles. He's good with hand-to-hand combat as well. He's not just a projectile-based character, but we have Gambit in the Blast class who throws stuff as well. We've got a lot of projectile-based characters in the Speed class that use guns, Elsa Bloodstone, Domino, Gamora. Well, Gamora doesn't use guns, but anyways, you get what I'm saying. Well, she uses a big blaster. Anyways, you get what I'm saying. So I think it'd be cool to see Bullseye as a Speed-type character, and it would be nice to have a Speed-type character that has the Ignore, Dodge leadership. So I think they could play with that. And it would be an interesting sort of take on the character, and it would maybe spice up the speed class a little bit more. Jumping back over to the speed class for the next one, I honestly think Gamora should join her sister Nebula as a combat type character. It really doesn't make a lot of sense to me that Nebula is combat and Gamora is speed when they're sisters and they're basically exactly the same. They're lethal hand-to-hand combatants and weapons-based combatants. That pretty much summarizes the combat class. You've got guys in the combat class whose weapons are their fists, or a horn on their head, or a wrecking ball that they swing, but they use those types of weapons. Speed types use weapons too, but is Gamora somehow a lot faster than Nebula? Did I miss that part? Is it the reflexes? What is it about her that makes her so much faster than Nebula? So I would think reuniting them together in the combat class would make more sense, And that makes more sense to me than the reverse, which would be making Nebula a speed type. I don't really think that makes a lot of sense, and I wouldn't want to see another speed type female character who has lightning damage. We have enough of those as it is. Coming up next, this one's where it starts to get a little bit spicy. We're getting a little bit more interesting here. How's this for an idea? Rogue as a universal type. Ooh! I know. I hit you with that one. You're like, what? You're driving. You're like, what did he say? The hell? Alex, what are you smoking? Well, Rogue in the comics siphons Captain Marvel's powers using her power drain, where she touches you and then you go to sleep. And that's the reason why she can fly, and that's part of why she has some of her powers. So it would make perfect sense to give her a Captain Marvel homage uniform. Not like visually speaking, I don't want her to dress like Captain Marvel, but reflect that fact. You gotta admit, Rogue is a pretty weird character to be a speed type. She hits like a truck, she drains your powers, she self-heals, she has all the trappings of a universal type, except that, you know, Netmarble's rule, we can't make mutants universal types. Well, you know what, Netmarble? I'm tired of your bullshit. I'm gonna make all the mutants universal, okay? There's gonna be a new class, it's called Universal, and it stands for Mutant Universal, and it's just gonna be mutants. Every mutant's gonna be here, and they're all gonna be universal, and then all of the other universals are just gonna get thrown into other classes. Yeah, we're gonna have a combat Thanos. Deal with that. Now who's beating Jean Grey? Absolutely. Well, you're more screwed because she's universal now. Anyways, that's beyond the scope of this video. The next one I have for you, I know you're gonna love, and it's another conversion to the holy gospel of universal types. It's my boy Frank Castle, Punisher, Cosmic Ghost Rider. Now, as much as I wanted to put Ghost Rider on this list, he just doesn't deserve to change out of Universal. Ghost Rider is a Universal type. That's just what he should be. And the only other possible class for Ghost Rider, if he wasn't Universal, would maybe be Blast because of all the fire and flames and stuff. But I would absolutely hate for a cool character to be Blast because I am sick of the Blast class. Screw them. Middle finger to them. So we're going to give Frank Castle the astronaut Cosmic Ghost Rider, and we're going to make him a Universal. That would be amazing, and I know a lot of people love that run where he punches baby Thanos. Spoiler. And they would love to see that added to the game. Coming up next, which I'm about to tell you, Adam Warlock, aka Kurt Cobain. He should honestly be Universal. It makes no sense that he's Blast. Listen, Marvel Future Fight devs, you've made a lot of correct decisions. You've made a lot of great choices over the years. This has not been one of them. Adam Warlock may be the single worst character in Marvel Future Fight. Not in terms of how powerful he is. He's far from the worst in terms of power level, but he was just a mistake top to bottom. They screwed up his class. He should not be Blast. They screwed up his cost, the acquisition method, as far as paying crystals and then having to use black antimatter. Ugh. And since he came out, they've failed to keep up the power level with the power creep of other characters to the point where he is 100% worthless now, given his cost. He's not worthless in the grand, you know, in a total, or you know, the totality of all characters. Like, yeah, he's better than Drax for Shadowland, sure, but you're gonna use Adam Warlock in Shadowland or what? Alliance Conquest for like the C team, right? So no, is that worth 6,000 crystals? Hell no. I'd rather flush those crystals down the toilet gambling on CTPs. So yeah. They've made too many mistakes with Kurt Cobain. They need to rectify them, and the first place to rectify them is slap that man with a Universal changing uniform. Another Blast class conversion to Universal. You've probably expected this one since the beginning of the video. Dr. Strange. That's right. The good doctor needs to be changed to Universal. He needs to join his brother, Voodoo. Huh? I was working on that for 3 hours. He needs to join Brother Voodoo as a Universal type. It makes sense. Doctor Strange is that powerful. He's that, you know, I want to say all-knowing, all-seeing, all-powerful. He's none of those things. But yeah, he should be Universal. This is the way it is. He should join Clea. Whatever. Fine. There. Final retort. Okay. Spoiler alert, the last three are all Universal conversions. I know, it's lazy, but that's just the fault of Marvel Future Fight. It's not my fault. They've given me such a bland palette. They're like, here's gray, dark brown, light gray, and a really nice blue. Which color would you like to paint with, Alex? And I keep going back to blue. And they're like, what's wrong? Why don't you want light gray, dark gray, or poo color? Well, I don't know, Netmarble. Maybe I don't want to paint with poo and shades of gray. Okay? Okay. Anyways, moving on. Apocalypse. He should be universal. You know it. I know it. Secretly, the devs know it. While they're eating today at lunch, they'll consider my proposal, and they'll get back to me in the evening meeting that I don't run. Coming in at number 2 on my list of 10 random characters that not random, but 10 characters that I chose to have their types changed. I know one person that's going to love this idea, and you can extend it to another character that is in the same sort of class as this character. Venom. Venom is a symbiote from space. Therefore, Venom is cosmic. People of the United States, Venom should be universal. Universal Venom care for all. So yeah, Venom should be universal. It makes total sense. He could get a huge power bump. He could be good. He could be a villain, universal villain. Wow. And the symbiotes come from whatever, the planet Null or whatever, the Null, the god. So, and his planet. So it's just like Thanos. Thanos comes from the Titanos planet or whatever. You know, so it's the same. It's literally the same thing. So basically, Venom is Thanos. So yeah, you know, basically, if Jane Foster is universal, why isn't Venom universal? It's the same shit. It's the same thing. And so you could throw Carnage in there too. That was sort of the hint at the end there. Last but not least, I know somebody else is really gonna love this one. Another character that should have been universal or should be universal. Drum roll, please. The last one. Cain Marko, Juggernaut. Yeah. He's not a mutant, Marvel Future Fight. He's not a mutant. He gets his powers from the Cyttorak. It's a gem. It's not, or it's a god or something. Anyways, he's not a mutant. He didn't have mutant powers. He you know, he didn't go through puberty and then get all big and weird and strap himself full of sex stuff. Okay, he didn't meddle. Okay, so I know he's Professor X's brother, but Juggernaut, universal uniform, make him really strong, another universal villain, bada bing, bada boom. These ideas sell themselves. You could sell these uniforms like hotcakes. I guarantee you tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of players would buy them. So, with that being said, let me know your choice for choose 3 characters that I did not talk about and tell me what you would change them to, and I will choose the 3 best ideas in the comments, and I will give you something. I don't know what it is yet, but I want to say thanks. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for commenting, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.